the carefully calculated mass migration agenda. This massive immigration to Europe of civilians displaced from ISIS war zones has been orchestrated and financed by these same entities. Their objective is to force Europe to view the actual cause, their unwillingness to help stop ISIS. Transcripts of telephone intercepts published in Italy claim to provide evidence that ISIS is threatening to send 500,000 migrants simultaneously out to sea in hundreds of boats in a psychological weapon against Europe if there is military intervention against them in Libya, Syria, and Iraq. The European police don't know who is who, whether they are legitimate refugees or other sinister agents blending in for future infiltration. Some insiders believe that this engineered immigration is a punishment against European nations who are participating in the boycotting, divestiture, and sanctioning of Israel, the BDS movement, over its apartheid, blockade, imprisonment, torture, and genocide against Palestinians. General Wesley Clark has revealed that the US DoD has had a long-time secret plan to take out 7 Mideast nations. ISIS is a part of that agenda, which is really an extension of this worldwide cabal agenda, which has unfortunately infiltrated and hijacked much of the Pentagon, the US Congress, and the US administration. Fortunately, there are some new folks in the American High Military Command and American intel that refuse to continue to allow America to be used as Israel's war machine. They are making sure that this incriminating information is being leaked and used to checkmate this illegal, unconstitutional, and treasonous use of the American military to fight any more wars for Israel and the RKM World Zionists. There are also changes happening in Ukraine as part of the deal brokered with the Obama administration, such as revoking its green light for military action to Poroshenko's regime, as well as weapons of a caliber less than 100 mm would be pulled back 15 kilometers behind the front line, which actually signifies an end to the hostilities. For the preceding 7 months, no one had been able to reach an agreement on this point. All this occurred less than a day after Vladimir Putin's speech in New York and his meeting with Obama, signifying that a deal has defiantly taken place. So far, these are the only first fruits. Clearly, there is more to come. But the trend is clear. The U.S. has acknowledged the legitimacy of Russian claims that Ukraine is within Russia's sphere of interest. It is now obvious that Israeli, CIA, Saudi, and Turkish mercenary forces, referred to as ISIS, ISIL, Daesh, al-Nusra, al-Qaeda, have now painted themselves into a corner with no easy way out. If they do, which means joining in the new international coalition to fight and destroy ISIS et al. On the ground in Syria and Iraq, they will be helping destroy their secret mercenary armies, which they spent billions of dollars on and many years recruiting as young orphans off the streets of Saudi Arabia and other Mideast nations, and training in special mind control training camps. This could set off some serious revenge attacks by these mercenaries against Israel and Saudi Arabia, once they figure out they are being abandoned and set up for destruction by their main supporters and controllers. If they don't, which means they refuse to join in the international coalition to fight and destroy ISIS et al. On the ground in Syria and Iraq, they will be exposing their total hypocrisy for the whole world to see and understand. And this includes their own constituents and previous supporters. Meanwhile, the cabal-owned media are hot at work with propaganda for the sheeple, but the sheeple are slowly waking up. If Putin can get Obama to go along with his proposal, then this would mark one of the greatest diplomatic triumphs of his 15 years in power. This means Russia's victory is now official. The only question is, victory over whom? Certainly not over Obama, but over a powerful supranational grouping which uses the United States as a battering ram in order to plunge the world into a new Middle Ages. Time will reveal the significance of that. But looking at how the global picture evolved between September 29th and 30th, we can see that Putin really got through to the intended audience for his statements. The plan of taking down Syria, the Kurds, Iraq, and Iran is just about an impossible dream that's driving Bibi, the Likudis, the KRM, and their American Zios in the USG and Pentagon. It's driving them crazy. They don't know what to do because there is no longer an easy way out. The next few months will be interesting, with Russia now beefing up its military response in Syria and now given official permission by Iraq to set up a military base and use their airspace. Everything Putin has done, both nationally and internationally, is backed up by the law and has never been outside of it. The true genius here is Assad. He is certainly right in telling NWO agents that he is not going to be removed from power and let them do whatever they want in Syria. Assad is the true Lion King, fighting for the freedom of every person and nation of this planet, fighting every country disguised as ISIS. And Vladimir Putin strongly backs him up. Their kings have been craftily placed in checkmate by master statesman and master chess player Vladimir Putin. Checkmate. Switzerland is also changing its tune, which indicates that it could be letting go of some of its expandable gophers, who are in the limelight that appear on the surface to be the main power source, which clearly they are not. There are clearly things happening below the surface. The Iranian nuclear deal has nothing to do with Iran building a useless nuclear bomb that cannot be detonated at any time or any place. It's about discovering the bending of light in this 3D illusion, which Iran has discovered, rendering any military complex useless, amongst other things. The threat of some of these nations, like the UK using nuclear bombs or Israel's Samson option, is nothing but a nuclear hoax. The negotiating is about keeping a red line with what technologies they can release to the public. Soon, things are going to change for the better. But unfortunately for this to happen, the old world order of things has to collapse. But a one world government? Certainly not. This will be shared by many powers. Ahead lies financial currency wars and no doubt some false flag events. The cabal's dream is still a racial war between Muslims and Christians and social unrest with martial law across Europe and the US that will greatly benefit the cabal financially. Unfortunately for them, they are being exposed on every level. A world order must be the objective, just like in our hidden past, working in harmony with all nations. Did you also know the cabal have kept all patents since the 1900s away from the public? That will benefit all mankind. Instead, they release useless technology, ones that have no real value, rather than to occupy the minds. We have the technology to do anything, to fix this world in months, and to eliminate poverty and every sickness known to man, including the ones they have introduced. Please watch the trailer